Hello and welcome back to Day 5 of the World Under-24 Ultimate Championships here in Perth, Western Australia. We're excited this morning to bring you an absolute ripper of a match in the women's division in what is a must-win for the Japanese women. They're going up against the Colombian women, the firecrackers who have burst onto the ultimate scene in the past few years. Led by the Cardenas twins, they are looking to make waves here and knock off the defending champions. Japan coming out on defense here, needing to win this game to stay in contention.
Thanks, Rob. You're absolutely right. This is a must-win match for the Japanese, and the Colombians will be treating it the same as they get their offense underway. In the hands of Weaver, she spent a lot of time playing in the US, in fact, and is now bringing her skills and her talents to this Colombian roster as it slips through the hands of Uribe Norena.
Ishikawa picking up the disc here for the Japanese, showing their trademark disciplined vertical stack here. Swings wide, Genshima. Back to Genshima in the center. Japan going into the wind here. Scale has not stopped. Ishida with the disc. Over the top. Genshima reels that in. Stall count getting high. Oh, it's floated up and reeled in.
Snagged by Lillian Weaver. Reads it well, though. Appears to have a bit of a discussion as to whether there was a foul on the throw, perhaps.
It's important to remember that English is the second language for a lot of these countries here. That doesn't stop them using translators to have a respectful and informed discussion.
So she says a fast count, she says it's still out. Okay. But she said fast count and she also threw the disc. And the disc is a turnover. So it's play on.
Fast count today, but you back.
But if she says the fast count and she throws the disc, if she would have kept the disc, she would maintain the position. But as the disc is turned down, it's a turnover.
多分そのファストカウントって言っても投げたから投げてターンオーバーだったからターンオーバーってことですよね。
はい、そうです。
じゃないかって言ってるんだけど。
Yes.
It's a turnover either here or there.
Yeah.
The store count contested. It's going to be a turnover.
Okay.
So down there.
あそこから from that
Turnover, downfield.
And game advisors coming in, just having a facilitating the discussion about the rules there. There's looked like there was a fast count called, and then the throw went up anyway. So in the situation of fast count, the stall drops flight 2 without play stopping.
And now the disc will be tapped back in the hands of Weaver. She immediately goes upfield to Manuela Cardenas, who will look for her sister on the near sideline. It's worth noting we are playing in a bit of a breeze. It's running left to right on your screens as Manuela is on the doorstep now. Willing to play patient. Marin, back to Manuela. To Weaver. Centers it. Now to Valeria Cardenas. And she finds her target in the end zone. It's Marin Ortiz who opens the account for the Colombians.
Colombia go up 1-0, and that's a strong start to this game. And that's a downwind hold. Not turnover free. The Japanese defensive line able to put enough pressure on to generate a turnover. Not quite able to convert that into a break going upwind. They'll be coming downwind now on offense, putting out their offensive line. This is truly one of their star-studded lines. A lot of experience here. Ogawa on this line, having recently played the World Games in Colombia with Poland, with Japan, and previously the All-Star Tour in America. There's an amazing amount of experience on the field today for an under-24s game. 3 World Games athletes across the 2 teams, having competed at the highest level of the sport.
These Colombians equally experienced, only 3 members on this team not having previously pulled on the yellow and navy blue of the Colombian strip in some form or another.
Nakayama fielding for the Japanese. Finds Ikeda. Back to Nakayama in the center. Japanese in a very spread stack. Back to Ikeda. Finds Natsumi Yoshida. Looks long. Ogawa on the end. Oh, and that disc just pushed down, just out of the reach of Ogawa.
This will be brought back in by Valeria Cardenas. There aren't many superlatives that haven't been used to describe these 2 twins. Valeria, the more handler-oriented of the 2. Working hard now to open up an option. And point blocked by Yoshida.
That's amazing play there. She's faking, trying to move the mark, trying to get that shot off, but Yoshida, the captain, all over it. Read it like a book. Says, not in my house. Japan looking for an offensive hold here with about 1 meter to go as Nakayama brings the disc in.
The Colombians playing a poachy, saggy look this close to the end zone.
Japan bring it off the line. Ikeda around to Sayori Yoshida. Back to Yoshida, the captain. Japan content to reset. Moving the disc patiently.
Valeria Cardenas showing her athleticism and snagging that one out of the air, though there appears to be a discussion as to whether there was a strip or unlawful contact involved.
Looked like a strip from my perspective here. We'll see what the perspectives of the players thought. Let's see if we can come to an agreement here.
So she saying she called first, and then she grabbed it.
She's saying the same, that she grabbed it way before her.
So
Look at the slow-mo here.
Very close either way. Both players had hands on the disc.
Tough to say. I think going back is the correct option. In the event where it's a simultaneous catch, both players achieving control of the disc at the same time, the disc goes to the offensive player. In this case, the Japanese. And they slot it in for a goal. That is an amazing grab in a tight space by Ogawa. Getting down low there despite the Colombian pressure. And Japan level it out. That's 1-1. 2 offensive holds, both going downwind here.
You saw the athleticism of Manuela Cardenas on display there as she bidded for the block on that final pass. But the Japanese precision throwing on display. Too far out in front, and they're able to haul that one in. Ogawa, safe hands, as always.
Absolutely. She's a key receiver for this Japanese offensive line. They will be looking to shoot along to her often. And it's been a tactic that's worked for them a lot. Wind notwithstanding. It's skilled throwers and very difficult to stop in this wind here. Won't be making a lot of unforced throwing errors. But the wind can play havoc with even the best throws. As the Japanese put out their defensive line, and they'll be looking to get a turnover and work it upwind here. They did get a turnover against the first Colombian offense, but that's not enough. You've got to work it up all the way against the wind. Score a goal to put it in the bank. As the pool comes up now.
It's worth noting the Colombian journey so far to this game. They've recorded wins against the Aussies, the Brits, the Austrians, and the teams from New Zealand and Singapore, only going down to the US earlier this week. They'll be looking to continue that winning record today. But they are a short roster with only 14 players, and the question that will be answered both in this game and in the days to come is, can they continue to play at the excellent standard and level that they've been displaying so far this tournament, as there is a bit of a discussion on this sideline as the disc is in the hands of Hernandez. Looks like it will be resolved amicably, which is great to see. Spirit of the game obviously playing a crucial part in all competitions of Ultimate from the lowest to the highest levels. And it's been great to see it in action this week at the World Under-24 Ultimate Championships. As Valeria Cardenas finds Uribe Norena. And now they'll dump and swing it across the field using the full width. Content to go sideways. The Japanese putting plenty of pressure on, not providing downfield options. Uribe Norena now. Weaver on the sideline. Colombians moving upfield now, about 6 meters out. On this near sideline, we'll have to continue to work, and there's a miscue.
Looked like Cardenas was going up the line there, even though they were open for the around break. Japanese with a chance to go up into the wind here. As the disc is brought in. Sent it to Haraguchi. Back to Haraguchi on the line there. Oh, safe grab. Moves up line. Finds Inoue. Back to Haraguchi. Beautiful swings wide. Ikazono with the disc. Over the top, in pressure. Shoots down the middle. Inoue with the disc there. She's got a deep option. Chooses not to take that. Haraguchi with the disc. Ikazono, sorry. Japanese working well. They're in the line.
And Valeria Cardenas bidding around her player. An incredible display of athleticism that may have cost her as well, as we see her fall to the ground with a grimace across her face. As we get another look at it. An incredible bid to achieve that block. And there is an injury call. And she will exit the field. We never want to see a player injured, especially not one of this caliber and one who plays such a crucial role for her team. She's been the quarterback of their offense all week long, and she'll be replaced by her twin sister as play resumes. Manuela Cardenas. As the stall count rises, there's a pick downfield. Colombians with 2 players in the space in front of the disc. They'll be looking to clear out and generate some options. With some separation, Cardenas reaching long in this wind. Maybe too far, but can she haul it in? Angel Escobar not quite able to get there, but puts in a valiant effort nonetheless.
Absolutely. Haraguchi in the area. Just a bit outpaced there. Not with the height to hold the area.
As Weaver picks up the disc. They're about 15 meters out now. In prime position, Cardenas in the center of the field. Goes back to Weaver, immediately moves up line. That up line fake and back for the dump is a classic of Manuela's arsenal as she reaches with the inside forehand and reaches slightly too far for Hernandez as the Japanese offense regain the disc.
Got a long way to go in this wind here, and they're shooting long and early, and that's dropping.
As we're speaking, the wind is picking up. As you saw it there, push that disc perhaps a little lower than the thrower would have liked, and the taller Colombians able to take advantage of that. We'll see over the course of this game whether the height mismatch that some of these Colombians enjoy will prove decisive. As Weaver and Cardenas continue to work the offense. Willing to play very patient when they have to.
Japan switching well on the handlers here.
And that's a goal as Cardenas finds her compatriot in the end zone despite the best efforts of the Japanese defender. Maria Cadavid on the stat sheet as Colombia take it to 2-1.
I don't think the Japanese defense can be too disappointed with themselves. They're able to generate a number of good blocks, a couple of miscues or turnovers
Timeout, Colombia.
by the Colombians. But Japan really putting a lot of pressure, getting a lot of opportunities, and you know, this early in the game, if they're unable to convert those opportunities, it's not the end of the world. Their offensive line is absolutely going to come out, keep firing, keep putting in these offensive holds, and they're going to keep getting opportunities to get blocks and breaks. So they would just keep working at it, and they'll begin to get a feel of the Colombian defense and see what they can do. It's a timeout's been called by Colombia, and they'll regather and have a chat about what they can change.
It's probably a great opportunity to give a bit of a shout out to the Spud Shed Fresh Food Market. A big thank you to the Galati brothers for their donation of fresh fruit. We've been enjoying their apples, their oranges, and their bananas all week long, as have our 150 strong volunteer workforce down here at the beautiful UWA Sports Park. If you're a WA local, get down to one of their stores. They have some great produce. I can't recommend it highly enough. Now, it's a bit of a truism of Ultimate to talk about the unique Japanese style of play, Rob, but we've already seen it on display here. They've been showing their inside looks as their preference and their willingness and keenness to use the break side.
Yeah, they're absolutely, it's great. It's what a lot of people would consider very well structured and very good Ultimate. And it's an interesting contrast to the Colombian style. The Colombian style is fast and aggressive and often plays what looks like a looser play. Upon further inspection and a bit of analysis, there's absolutely a structure, but they'll tend to run through a lot of key players and use their athleticism and dominate those one-on-one matchups. And the Japanese play through a very disciplined structure, use that to get open and find their players repeatedly all the time. You know, skill execution makes that work. As Colombia pulls upwind, that's a beauty. Fielded by Nakayama there. Spread wide. Yoshida with a disc. Back to Nakayama. Ikeda with a disc here. Japan playing a different stack here, spreading against this Colombian defense.
The Colombians choosing to come down in a zoney look initially to slow up the Japanese pull play, but they've now transitioned to a match defense.
The captain, Yoshida, shooting. Oh, and Agawa with a great second effort bid there. And the quick flip in. Natsumi Yoshida with a goal there. That's amazing athleticism by Agawa to stay with the disc, tipped a little bit, but making the grab when it counted, and then flipping it in for the goal.
Agawa really showing her class and experience, able to haul that one in despite giving up a number of inches to Angel Escobar, getting the perfect read on it, taking it at its highest point.
Absolutely. It's something that I've seen all day and all week, but still don't get tired of. Watching the Japanese handlers reset calmly and nicely and get it in a nice position, and then you look downfield and Agawa's got 7 meters free off the back. It's working for them so far. Japanese offense levels 2-2. No breaks in this game so far. Some very high quality Ultimate.
The Colombians now will play offense, and in their typical style, they will embrace each other as they prepare on the line, indicating their unity and their trust for each other and their willingness to play and work hard and put their bodies on the line for each other as they represent their country at this World Championships.
Ikazono with the pull here. It's falling short, just about halfway.
Weaver working hard to get there early, keen to get the offense underway as they'll work their way through this Japanese zone. Gomez Dominguez, Angel Escobar and Valeria Cardenas and Lillian Weaver will be working the disc around as the handler call at this point. Hernandez pivoting hard and playing through the contact on the mark. One of the great things about self-officiation allows players to set the tone for what's acceptable, and there's a turn and the Japanese will look to capitalize.
Quickly punishing Endo with the disc. Back to Kato. Close out here. Inoue with the disc. Japanese knocking on the door here. Working in a small space, and that's an athletic grab. Nearly there. Sakamoto with the disc now. And that's a quick flip in for the goal. That's our first break of the game. Unbelievable. Hikara Kato managing to get open on the cone there. Japan take the first serious lead here, and it's 3-2. That's a break. Amazing, and that's what the Japanese have been looking for. They've thrown out a number of different defenses at the Colombians, playing some regular one-on-one match defense, a few sort of handler sags, where the cutter guarders downfield are matched up one-on-one tight, but the handlers are moving off their player to clog up those throwing lanes and give up that easy reset going sideways, but make it harder to advance the disc upfield.
And we see here Angel Escobar looking to sag off her player and trying to get involved with the block there. And as a result of that bid, ending up slightly out of position on her assignment that leads to the goal. That point, a great example of the danger of a short field turn in these windy conditions, providing an opportunity for an easier upwind score.
Absolutely. It's interesting to see. Yeah, the Japanese now on defense, going downwind. That's where they want to be. They back themselves to get a block in here and go downwind, but the Colombians have an opportunity. No turnovers here, and they'll level. The Japanese get a block and go downwind. That's a double break, and they will massively extend their lead. So this is a crucial offensive hold for Colombia here.
Manuela Cardenas with the disc. She has shown no fear all weekend in launching the long ones when she leads both up and downwind. And I would not be surprised to see her again. As she plays catch with Lillian Weaver. Getting every second pass at the moment. By no means is this Colombian team only two players, but obviously Manuela and Valeria playing key roles when they have to. As Lillian Weaver unable to connect with Uribe Norena, and the Japanese will go downwind.
Off to the races going the other way. Ishikawa with the disc here. Resets to Sakamoto. Goes wide. Knocking on the door here. Ishida with the disc. Finding a late option there. And it looks like there's a stall signaled by Cardenas on the mark.
Pues, mire que fue muy evidente que canta el ten y lanzó, muy evidente.
10って言った時に投げてあって思ってる。
ないんで、投げた後に。
She slow 9.
¿Escuchaste?
9.
She clearly said 10. And then
So just when she said 10.
Vale, dile que todas escucharon. She was saying that the girls in the line, they all listened. She said 10, and then the pass went out.
10って言った後に投げた後に。
私は
9だと思ってる。
Mano, mano, mano. She said she shouted 10, and then
その
I didn't.
10って叫んだ時に投げたんじゃないかっていうふうに。
And that 3 whistles coming out from the game advisor indicates that the discussion's gone on for 45 seconds, which will usually make it an automatic contest, given conversations and what's happening from the players here. It looks like there's a contested stall.
So saying
way.
stalling 8.
stalling 8, 9, 10.
And as you heard there, the disc will be brought back in at stalling 8. The Japanese will have only 2 seconds from that point to get the disc out and reset the stall count.
Oh, and that's a violation. Players absolutely ready to go, aware of the 2 seconds here. Ishida with the disc. Shoots inside, finds Genshima quickly. Managed to ease the time pressure just slightly. Knocking on the door here. Needing a reset. Genshima with the disc goes wide.
And it appears Manuela Cardenas has called a foul from an offensive cutting motion that initiated contact on behalf of the Japanese.
Won't affect possession of the disc, but it will reset the play, particularly if Cardenas felt she was pushed or shoved or just bumped into and therefore unable to play proper defense. Looks like the disc is going
Disc is coming back, one throw.
back to Sakamoto and on 2. Shoots over the top and it's found traffic and that's a block.
It's a desperation, high stall count moment. And Manuela Cardenas immediately responds with an aggressive option of her own, but it doesn't connect.
Ito picks up going the other way. Japan with another opportunity here, working in a small space. Ishikawa with the disc, goes wide. Oh, look off that open option there. Sakamoto, patience here, wide. Genshima with the disc. Looks for that around. At the front here, showing incredible patience here, Ishikawa. Genshima, again. Looks inside, absolutely an amazing shot to an uncontested player. Ishida with the disc there. Japan putting a number of their offensive players on this line here. Looking to hold downwind, and it's working for them. They've taken another break, and that puts them up 4-2.
So often in these upwind, downwind games, an upwind break is immediately followed by the downwinder. It can really assist and act as an extra defensive player.
Absolutely. These teams holding their offenses, but also holding downwind. So Colombia with the first offense going into the wind for this game and unable to hold on to that one. So Japan taking that double break, and they're up 4-2, and Colombia will be back going downwind with their offense here. So I think holding their offense here will be a little easier for them. It's likely they'll be able to sort of stop the bleeding and stabilize into this game and get a few more points on the board now. But Japan with a 2-point lead that they will be able to maintain unless there are any more upwind breaks.
And upwind breaks as rare as hen's teeth in tricky conditions such as these. But I wouldn't put it past the throwing and technical prowess of either of these teams to find a way to get a couple more. It's the Colombians now, near half field. Again playing through an initial saggy, poachy look as Angel Escobar has the disc as they swing it. To the far side, there are 2 players.
That's a great grab.
Marin Ortiz going to the turf to keep that one alive. The Colombians, renowned for athleticism, and you can see why. Willing to put their bodies on the line when they have to. Willing to make athletic plays when they have to on defense. And Valeria Cardenas, as they move it sideways. Japanese very good at taking away downfield options while giving away easy dump resets. So often in Ultimate, you can't stop everything. You have to choose your poison that you're going to give. And in this case, the Japanese are giving resets, trying to take away the downfield option. As the Colombians inch closer to the end zone. Taking the inside forehand. Gomez Dominguez. Finds Cardenas, 5 meters out now. Goes across field with the fat side forehand. And she completes, finding her target in Velia Valderrama, who does a backflip to celebrate.
That's amazing. That was brilliant offense by the Colombians. The Japanese playing some interesting defense there. I think you're right there. They were sagging off the handlers a bit, giving up those resets, and I think it was a ratio of probably 4-1 resets to upfield gainers, which is not bad for the defense there. You know, every 4th throw gets you something, and the other 3 get you nothing, but an opportunity for a turnover there. It's going to be difficult for the Colombians to maintain that sort of discipline and skill throughout the 100 minutes, but they've done it through this point here.
We saw again in that replay, not only the brilliant celebration, but also the throwing prowess of Valeria Cardenas, taking a leaf out of the Japanese playbook and looking to the fat side. I'm sure we'll see a bit of that from the Japanese this game. It's a trademark look from them. The fat side forehand across the field into acres of space, throwing totally to the advantage of your offensive players.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I've seen the Japanese men's team employ that a lot. The Japanese women's team not using that one as much, but they're breaking around and using the other break side a lot more. As Nakayama fields the disc, and they're going downwind again. Back to Nakayama in the center here. Oh, that one sails high. Ogawa's there. Looks like she was making a play, but it was already out of the field. No. Fair bump. Go back the other way. Colombia with a short field.
The disc we brought back in by Weaver. This is the short field opportunity that they were looking for. We saw what happened when Japan got their short field opportunity. They were able to punch it in. The question will now be answered. Can the Colombians do the same? Not able to find much downfield. The stack relatively deep, which can be tricky in conditions such as these, where often one's throwing range is reduced. As the disc is in the hands of Cardavid, reaching for Manuela Cardenas, and it floats up. Lots of contact underneath, and there will be a discussion. But it appears Cardenas will walk away, feeling that she'd gone up too early, and the contact after, while it was obviously not ideal, didn't affect her opportunity to get a second bid on it.
Nakayama fields the disc, finds Yoshida on the inside. Ogawa off the back again. Keita Yoshida looking for Ogawa. Oh, great read. Holds it there. Oh, Ogawa shooting inside, but it's just out of the hands of Ikeda. Colombia with a chance to go upwind here, but a full field to work.
That's right, Rob. They'll have to take it the full length of the field into the teeth of this wind if they're going to score here. They had an opportunity from the short field position and they weren't able to take it. Only time will tell whether that will be crucial and whether that missed opportunity will be something that they'll be forced to regret later on. It's Manuela Cardenas faking big, instead going to Weaver, but the scraps picked up. So often in these conditions, discs will pop up and end up in the hands of unintended receivers, and it's very important to always be aware and ready for that as a player on the field. Aribe Norena with the disc.
Oh, and that's an unbelievable defensive block. Ogawa showing her experience, athleticism, coming in with a screamer there. That's the stuff gold medals are made of. Japan doing what it takes to hold their downwind offense here. Nakayama picking up the disc. Looking for that inside every time. As they've gone. Found Tajima at the front. Keita Yoshida, the captain, with the disc. Patience and calm. Goes around. Finds Nakayama. Safe hands. Wide. Tajima. Resets. Nakayama. Yoshida again. Always open. Fakes the hammer over the top. She had Ogawa in space. Shoots long and she finds Tajima. That's amazing. Ogawa getting it done. Getting the disc back for the Japanese women. And then they're able to advance it downwind and put in an uncontested goal again. The Japanese turnovers are rare, but Japanese blocks come thick and fast immediately after. Japan powering out.
And the question will remain, can the Colombians respond? They've got work to do now. They had their opportunities at that point, one from a short field position as well, and they may live to regret the mistake of not punching that one in, not being as clinical as they could have been when they needed to be. As we have another look at this goal. That hammer, I was sold and I would have loved to have seen it go up. Instead, the Japanese playing safe, playing clinical as they so often do, finding Tajima open in the end zone, hitting her on the chest. The Colombians now with another opportunity, heading downwind with the disc in their hands. They'll look to make quick work of this one and get back on the defensive side of the Frisbee as the pull comes up. And it's a relatively short one as the Colombians will pick up at midfield Again, their offensive line piloted by Valeria Cardenas as Japan in their distinctive saggy look initially.
This one is even more zone-like than previously. They've got far more players around the disc here. And really, really spaced out. Even more than a traditional handler sag.
Cardenas with the disc, surveying upfield, looking for the deep shot, and she reaches for it, but it falls a little short.
Well read, well cut out. Ike with the disc there. Finding that block. Ooh, looks long. I bought it. Swings wide instead. Great patience. Yamauchi with the disc. Goes wide. Endo. Swings again. Oh, and they've shot long here. Plays under the disc. Amazingly read by the Colombian defense.
Marina Ortiz peeling off the back of the stack to provide assistance. Not in the end necessary, but it's great to see the Colombians helping out off the back of the stack. And they make rapid progress down this near sideline. We'll see whether they reach long again, and instead they willing to work the unders, grind with their legs. With a short roster, this could be difficult to maintain for a whole 100 minutes. But if there's a team that can do it, that possesses the athleticism and the fitness and the conditioning, it will be this one. As the wind causing that one to bobble through the hands and to the turf.
Yeah, it's unbelievable there. It's clearly showing, I think, it's an amazing tactical choice by the Japanese to allow these resets, force them to run and run and run and run. It's absolutely not to the advantage of the Colombians here. Japanese making them work for everything that they need. Ikazono with the disc, shoots long. I don't think that's the completion she was looking for. Inoue was free off the back, but that disc just falling to the turf.
And the Colombian offense will restart. They've tried looking long, they've tried working unders, and they'll try looking long again. Reaching for Angel Escobar. She has a height advantage, but not the positional one.
And read that well, got in the position she needed to be. Absolutely, I think she's made an amazing play there. If you hold your space there, the defender can't come through you without fouling you, and she's done amazingly. Get in the right spot, go up early, put a body on the line and get that block. That's a great athleticism from Endo there. Great patience, resetting around. Haraguchi with the disc. Finds Endo again. She looks long here, it's dropping early, but oh. Good to take those shots early. If they're dropping early, then the player won't be too deep. Nearly dropped down on the head of Harada, but it was not to be today. Colombia bringing the disc in at about half field. Japanese defense set.
Brought back in by Valeria Cardenas. And she'll reach again immediately. This time that's a better option. Player with advantage. Has she thrown too far? There will be some discussion, some uncertainty. Was she in? Was she out? It was a difficult throw in a difficult conditions. Throwing downwind over the head of your receiver, very difficult to put touch and get it to sit. And we see that resolved amicably, deciding the disc was out the back as we have another look at it.
You can call delay.
And it's a tight one.
Yeah, it looked like a foot came down on both sides of the line. And a Colombian player on the sideline there signaling out. So great spirit to be telling your players that, yes, you had the perspective on the sideline and you saw that they were out. It's to their advantage. Not even to their advantage. It's great spirit. Japan going the other way. Haraguchi with the disc. Advancing it up the sideline here. Reset. Haraguchi. Oh, that's a low one, but that's well reeled in. Endo with the disc. Goes around with a beautiful flick. Yamauchi finds Ikazono. Oh, and that one's just bounced over the head of Endo. Colombia, the short field to work.
This wind has picked up, and it's now affecting the offenses as they run both directions, not just upwind, but downwind as well, has proved difficult. As Escobar, 5 meters out, will dump it to Gomez Dominguez, who will swing to Cardenas, who milks that one, looking to get it as close to the end zone as she possibly can as she breaks the mark with that distinctive backhand style. And that's a goal for Colombia.
That's very well. Ikuzono taking the Cardenas match up there, doing everything she could, denying the first option, forcing her to go around, and that floaty throw sat up in the wind nicely for Cardenas to run onto it and milk it for some distance. But in this wind, that could just as easily have been pushed down to the ground. So credit to Ikuzono to shutting down those options there. Although Cardenas, truly a quality player, able to stretch out and get around there.
As we get another look at that long shot from her, with the benefit of super slow motion and multiple camera angles, to my eyes, she may have just got that back foot in. But of course, in ultimate, it's decided by the players on the field with the perspective that they had in the moment. And we saw the Colombians call themselves out. An admirable display of spirit. And then Cardenas breaking that mark with that around throw. Very difficult to do, and she makes it look easy.
Yes, indeed. It's all about the first point of contact. If there's 2 points of contact, for example, if the back foot is in and the front foot is out and they land at the same time, that is indeed out. But we'll go... Called by the Colombian sideline, and we'll go with them. Nakayama fielding the disc. Japan looking for a downwind hold. Back to Nakayama. She's been rock steady this game. Truly skilled thrower. Back to Nakayama again. She can't put a foot wrong here as they look long. Guess who's out the back? It's Ogawa. Looked like that disc was coming over the back of her head though. Just a little misread. It's Colombia give away a short, cheap turnover there. And that's going to cost them. The Japanese offense is disciplined, calm and patient. Those are all the things that are going to let you score on a short field here. Nakayama with the disc. Goes around. Beautiful. Yoshida with the disc. Swing side. Japan with space. Natsumi Yoshida finds a pitting Ogawa in the end zone. That's unbelievable. Ogawa, clearly a favorite target of this Japanese team, and with good reason. I'd throw her all kinds of terrible throws, and she has just got the athleticism, the spacing, the speed, and the experience to reel them in. Haven't seen her give up on a disc yet.
It just feels like the Colombians have not been able to find a matchup that's effective against her. In fairness, over the course of this week, it doesn't feel like many teams have. She's nigh on unguardable in that downfield space. No matter how many times she cuts deep and receives the disc, she seems to be able to do it again and again and again. You can see her ability here as she goes break side and lays out to secure that one and to secure Japan's 6th point on the board.
Absolutely. Be interesting to see the Colombians could match up one of the, probably Manuela, if she's feeling healthy, on Ogawa. See if they can lock her down on defense, keep her out of this game, but in doing so, they would put a lot of pressure on one of their star players, and with such a short roster, they really need those star players to be generating and doing a lot on offense, so don't know if they can dedicate the defensive resources there. Still, it's been all downwind since that Japanese double break at 3-2. Colombia looking to go downwind here again.
Cardenas moving to the near sideline with Hernandez. Has Angel Escobar, and she hits her. Angel Escobar, the captain of this team, has provided many an option downfield, doing a lot of work, generating options. And unfortunately, that throw from Weaver just slicing into the turf, and Japan will pick up.
Kasai with the disc. Oh, and that one shot long. And shepherded out of the field by Cardenas.
She brings it back in. Doesn't like what she sees downfield as she surveys her options. Weaver goes inside. Cardenas, she has a player going deep and she will shoot. Fearless in that option taking as it sails over the head of her target in Marin Ortiz as it sails too far in this wind.
Yeah, and it's a great look by Cardenas. The player had pace, had speed, a couple of steps separation off the back there. But they've got lovely shape on their throws, the Cardenas twins, and they're curling in with those outside ins nicely. But this one is catching the wind a little too much and sailing too far to the left. Just 5% off, but that makes all the difference. There's Japan off to the races. Swinging it up the guts here, powering long. Oh, and that's a bit of a rush shot. And then there's a pack out the back here. Japan undoing all their hard work to get to halfway with just a rush shot that bounces up in the wind.
And Weaver will pick up the disc this time. And see what she can do with the disc in her hands. She finds a player. Uribe Norena moving it quickly now, getting it back immediately, looking to play give and go all the way up the field. The Colombians loving the quick movement. Throwing a couple of meters out in a vertical stack. And finally, Cardenas with an athletic grab to keep that disc alive. The throw not quite perfect, but the play exceptional in maintaining possession. The Japanese forcing Colombia to go sideways and backwards. Very consistently, not a lot coming out of the stack. The Colombians very disciplined in only having one cut going at once. As they'll go round the mark to the far sideline now, and the disc in the hands of Marin Ortiz. As she breaks the mark and finds her player in Danielle Hernandez. It's the second time the Colombians have scored in that exact spot with the exact same throw.
That's amazing work by the Colombians there. That was great patience and discipline there. I think earlier upfield when they had a lot of long options, Cardenas, quick on the trigger finger, happy to shoot long and look for those options, make something happen with her throws there. But when they're close, right out the front of the end zone there, just playing great patience to just have one cutter at a time, one isolated option, and using those break mark throws to find somebody for an uncontested grab rather than trying to lead somebody in with a lot of defense. Cardenas with a grab earlier. There was a great layout bid. But she could have ran onto that potentially, kept that throw in, but there's amazing awareness to feel the Japanese defender coming on an inside hip. She was threatening there. There was a layout block coming, but Cardenas getting there first. And we've kicked the can down the road, just another notch. 6-5 Japan. We're looking to go downwind and maintain this 2-point lead. However, Colombia coming out on defense here, looking to spoil the party. Nakayama again, rock solid, fielding the disc. Yoshida with the disc. Oh, that's an incredible bid, but Natsumi Yoshida able to field it in. Sees Ogawa at the end there. Oh, but that disc spearing in like a laser. Ogawa unable to reel it in.
The disc will be brought back as we approach halftime, 6-5. You feel like this point could be crucial as Cardenas jacks it towards the end zone, perhaps deciding that it's time to play a bit of territory game rather than a possession-based game, and her teammates give her a high five and a thumbs up. They approve. They feel that in these tricky conditions, territory, crucially important.
It's interesting. It displays a lot of faith in your throwers, and that's how it has to be. You can't be displeased when your shooters shoot. That's their job. If she doesn't bomb it, who will? Yoshida, Ogawa out the back. Indeed, guided by the Cardenas here. Oh, and they look for that cross-shot pick. Ogawa on the run, and she's done it again. What a superstar here. She is getting it done. The Japanese looking to her. They're needing her to get those goals, and she's coming up with it every time. Unbelievable. What a star. Japan holding their lead, 7-5.
It's a matchup we talked about earlier. If they'd put the Cardenas, either of the Cardenas sisters on Ogawa, they chose Valeria. And in the end, Ogawa showing that she wasn't troubled in the slightest, employing that Japanese break side cut. The throw delivered perfectly and making the bid and making the play. The Japanese on the doorstep of taking half. The Colombians will recognize the significance of this point and the one to follow in determining the momentum and the tone of this game.
Absolutely. It's Colombia likely to put a lot in and hold downwind here. But that'll only bring them within one. Again, they just need to have an upwind break. Colombians had a couple opportunities that consistently had a possession going into the wind, but unable to convert. It's really difficult. It's a long way, and the Japanese are putting on some stellar defensive pressure. As the pool comes up into the wind here. Ijima sending it to the brick mark. And that one lands in and rolls nicely.
Similar looking offensive line from the Colombians. Nothing's changed. Same familiar faces out there as Valia Valderrama with the disc. Moves it sideways. Back to Weaver. As has been the case all game long, really. The Japanese having done a great job of making the Colombians move backwards, move sideways, and making it very difficult for them to move forwards. There's a travel call, and play resumes immediately. Weaver with a number of players around the disc. The Japanese having three in a wall, forcing the Colombians towards this near sideline as the wind is starting to really pick up. This could be decisive as they move backwards. They're now almost on their end zone line. Will they choose the bailout huck? No, they will remain patient. The disc in the hands of Valeria Cardenas. If there's one to shoot, it will be her. Instead, moving backwards still, continuing to play that patient game. Backwards again, backwards again. When will the huck come? You feel it's only a matter of time. As Cardenas calls the double team. The disc will be brought back in. The slicing blade over the top, looking for Weaver, as the disc will roll.
And that one's been pushed down this wind, as well as going quite left to right. Just coming into quite a bit of a crosswind as well, coming towards the camera. Japan threatening yet another upwind break here. Really solidify this hold on the game. Look off the upwind shot. Sakamoto with a disc here. Looks off that deep long shot. Content to work in a small space here. Yamauchi with the disc. Cardenas guarding this line well. Holding this swinging wide. This threatening space here. Oh, and that one just sails out of reach.
It felt like that was the opportunity for the Japanese. An upwind break into half. Really would have stamped their authority on this game. But there's life left in this Colombian outfit yet.
Absolutely. I think they want to be playing the territory game here. A short field turn or even a Callahan here would be almost the end of this team.
As the disc moves back to Valeria Cardenas. She has players hovering downfield, but this Japanese zone is proving oppressive and stifling to this Colombian offense. They're halfway back in their end zone, and Cardenas will fire. She has Angel Escobar underneath, who reels it in safely in acres of space. We'll see how they advance it from here. They're now at midfield. As the disc finds its way back into the hands of Cardenas. Piloting this offense as always. Hernandez up the line to Valia Valderrama. Through to Angel Escobar. Many of these players, having pulled on this Colombian jersey before, have played together for their national teams at juniors and under 24 level in the past. Some of them having played women's and world games, as we've spoken about as well.
Colombia well out of the danger zone here, but advancing slowly. Many, many throws, and any one of these could be a bit bobbled by the wind.
As they advance it across the field, marching it up the field now. Able to find meters when they go sideways. The Japanese committed to this zone for the full length of the field. They found success with it before, and they see no reason to change. Daniela Hernandez to Weaver, and back. Losing ground and gaining ground, ebbing and flowing. This becomes a grind, a game of mental concentration and focus.
Absolutely. This is difficult. Cardenas having to do a lot here. one of the best throwers in this Colombian team, and clearly showing the strains of having to work so hard for so little at the moment, as they're a bit off to the races.
Angel Escobar with the incisive pass there through the wall, finding the hole. Unable to fully capitalize and keep the disc moving. Often when playing against a zone, after that first incisive pass through the defenders, if the disc can be kept moving downfield, the defense will never have time to recover. But the Japanese do a great job of containing that offensive flow. The Colombians back to where they were 15, 20, even 30 passes ago. Incredible discipline from both teams. Incredible fitness, incredible conditioning. But you get the feeling as the Colombians approach the end zone that the Japanese are only delaying the inevitable. Cardenas now. Back to Weaver. A lot of players in a very small amount of space in front of the disc. Like to see the Colombians use the full space, the full width available to them. As the disc moves backwards into the hands of Carla Torres. And now to Weaver. The signs of fatigue beginning to show in this marathon point. Hernandez surveying her options, going backwards and sideways again. In points like this, even if the Colombians do score, I'm sure the Japanese will feel like they've achieved what they've wanted. They will have worn out the Colombians significantly.
Absolutely. If every downwind offensive point like this is for the Colombians, it's going to be impossible for them to maintain over 100 minutes.
We've already spoken about the size of this Colombian roster. Only 14 strong. Marathon points such as these can show their impact. Not necessarily at this point, but in points to come. This will be a game to 15 over the course of 100 minutes, so there's plenty of ultimate to be played left. And if these players don't have juice in the tank to go the full distance, the Japanese will benefit from having their significantly larger squad at their fingertips.
As a point like this drags on, it gets longer and longer, and this is an amazing offensive possession from the Colombians. They've done it all, but the stakes get higher and higher. A turnover here could be mentally crushing for the Colombians, as the Japanese can't be disappointed with what they've achieved thus far.
No, absolutely not. The Colombians showing incredible chemistry, discipline, and play to keep this disc moving. While they've played together on their national team before, some of them, they're not all from the same club, hailing from many regions in Colombia. So they're on the doorstep now, on the edge. Disc in the hands of Uribe Norena. Back to Angel Escobar. Question is, will they get white line fever? And they will not, but Valeria Cardenas reels it in.
Absolutely, they've done it. There's a bit of muted excitement, but that's amazing work by the Colombians, able to get it in, but they're absolutely gassed after that. The Japanese will be happy with that defense. They've got a larger squad. They can rotate and put on a whole fresh offensive line here. The Colombians having to use a number of those same players who were just on for that marathon to play defense here. And so the Japanese offensive line can go out and crush it. Colombians have called a timeout, and that's a smart one. They're going to need a little rest here. And if they're going to strike for a break here, this is the time. Colombians, after halftime, will be starting on this right-hand side in the downwind end zone, having to advance it all the way up the field. So, not the position they want to be in, but that's how the halftime works. You come out at the opposite end zone that you started in.
It's probably a great opportunity for us to thank the tournament's preferred travel partner, SDA Travel. If you have dreams or desires of traveling in the near future, head on down to one of their shop fronts or on to their website, and I'm sure they'll be able to hook you up with a great deal in booking your transport and accommodation for your next trip.
Absolutely, I'd agree. Colombians using them as well. Definitely a number of travels in that point. So here we go, coming out of the timeout here. Colombia desperately needing an upwind break to really assert themselves back in this game, because after halftime, they'll be going upwind again, regardless of the result of this point. If they go upwind here, then they will be in the power position, looking to get a double break going downwind and assert themselves. But if they're unable to make it happen here, then Japan might score downwind, take half-time, and then score downwind straight again after half. So this is one of the last opportunities here before the lead gets a bit too much. Colombia coming out aggressively with a big pull. Japan going downwind, centering to Nakayama, the rock. Swing wide, Tajima with the disc here. All over the head of Nakayama, but she's read that and reeled it in. Colombia throwing a different defense out here. Stifling these resets back for the Japanese, looking to force an inside, and the blocks come for Colombia. This is what they're looking for.
Mariana Montoya Diaz there with the heads-up play. Head on a swivel, was able to get a hand in front there, and the Colombians now on the doorstep. I cannot emphasize enough how crucial this point will be and how crucial this opportunity is with the short field turn. We've seen them throw away an opportunity like this earlier in this game. They will not be wanting to do that again. As Manuela Cardenas, 3 meters out, a whole arsenal of throws in her toolkit. Which one will she use? Content to work it with her legs. Her athleticism nigh on unmatched on this field at this point in time. Expect to see her continue to do what she's doing now, which is receive every second pass. She goes inside with the forehand, into space. Can she get it? Too far out in front of Daniela Hernandez.
That's an absolute heartbreaker. Ogawa there, marking up on Cardenas, making her work with her legs. And she looks for that inside throw, and it is centimeters over her fingertips, and that's an amazing bid there, but unable to reel that win in. And they'll be looking for another block here. Japan coming in on the cone. It's not a powerful position, and they've got defenders around the disc, but Nakayama, stable as always. Goes wide. Japan moving the disc calmly here. Oh, and that's an unfortunate drop. Ogawa couldn't reel it in. It might be costly for them. Colombia attacking upwind again with a short field.
And as we saw before, Cardenas moving it quickly, but now heading upwind, but it's not enough.
Yoshida, the captain, cuts that one out. She's got players stringing in deep. Nakama, always the available reset. Colombia playing this tight defense again. Japan having to adapt and do things differently. They're doing well. Yoshida calls a timeout there. And that's not a bad call. A lot of players behind her, a lot of players in the wrong spaces. Only Ogawa, as always, running deep, marked by Cardenas.
Yoshida showing her veteran status, calling that timeout. She recognizes that in the context of this game and in the story of this match, that this is a crucial moment for the Japanese to punch in this downwinder. If they can get this, they will secure half at 8-6 with an opportunity to extend that lead in the second half. The Colombians, conversely, need this one if they are to stay within striking distance. They've had some opportunities only centimeters from the end zone, and they haven't been able to take them. We'll see whether they can make some adjustments that lead to their success.
Absolutely. The Colombians, depending on how this point goes, might look back on that one throw as being where it all turned, where it all slipped away. But it's not over yet. The Colombians have been putting on a relentless defense here. They've not been stopping. Dennis has been grinding their bones to dust in this game. And look, if they're going to do it, now's the time. Scream aloud blocks. This is where they come. This is where it counts. This is where champions become heroes. They're going to need a block, and they're going to need to put it upwind here. And centimeters away from everything that they needed before. Can they do it again? The Japanese setting in vertical stack. Yoshida with the disc. Nakayama in the dump. 3 handlers behind. Colombians setting very spacious defense here. But a lot of players around the disc. So a lot of options, but not many holes to shoot it through. Yoshida taking her time. Resetting backwards. Ikeda with the disc. Goes wide. Tojima. Back to Ikeda. Back to Nakayama. Oh, and she looks at the big blade. Oh, and they've done it. Japan's held that downwind to who else but Ogawa. Completely unmarked in the end zone there. And that's 8-6 at halftime. The Colombians will not be happy with that. They were so close to everything that they needed there. Couldn't reel that in. Just over the fingertips. And can it? Japan, a dominant force in this game thus far. Not stretching out to a huge lead, but making Colombia pay for all of their mistakes. We'll go in this halftime break and we'll know that Colombia will be coming out, going upwind immediately after this. Japan in the powerful position going downwind. It's been a good one. I'd like to quickly give a shout out to Emma and Toms. I mean, fueling our volunteer force and us here in the commentary booth with amazing snacks. Not a gram of sugar in them.
I'm a big fan of their beetroot-coated veggie nuts, each serving with the equivalent of 13 grams of fresh beetroot in it. I've been eating them all week long and can't recommend them highly enough.
Absolutely. Beetroot, pretty good, even if not on a burger.
And with that thought, we might leave you for the halftime break. We'll be back soon with the second half of this thrilling matchup between the Colombian and the Japanese women, as both teams have all to play for.
I think I love it, I think I love it. Smoking and drinking in the summer. Come on, who doesn't? Never regretted where I wasn't. Cause fuck it, I only do it if I love it. And you know I love ya. Since a baby been in trouble. Started my mother, said I'm too much like my father. Should've been a daughter. Cause I like to roll up green while I lay by the water. Dreams is high skyscrapers and my floors are flawless. See, I've been kicking in these doors, doing what I swore, ain't changing it all. Made a promise and I'm keeping my you keeping yours, still the same, nothing changed, still ain't loving the Lord, ain't know the name, face frame, since the day I was born, all I know is, don't know if I'll come back down, but I know it'll come back round, it's all love and they know that now, know that now, know that, hey, don't know if I'll come back down, but I know it'll come back round, it's all love and they know that now, know that now, know that, hey, I know it'll come back round, but I don't wanna come back down, I know it'll come back round, come back round, come back, hey, I know it'll come back round, but I don't wanna come back down, so love and they know that now, know that now, know that now. I love it, I think I love it. Phone on silent, call me buzzing, ain't worried about nothing. Your father ain't my father's brother, but we say we cousins. Connected like all of that rubber to a bungee jumper. See, I've been all or nothing, and now it's coming, balancing who I am. And when I wasn't, I needed love, and lucky I had the fan. Yeah, we argue, I say I hate you, but I know where you stand. You're in my corner, I'm leaning on you with my heart in my hand. It's all love, you're looking at me like no dog, looking at me like don't worry. It gets hard, ain't going nowhere, I won't budge. I'm looking at you like so what? These days, all I can say is be brave. All we can do is be us. Don't fuss, don't nuss. One world, one love. Don't know if I'll come back down, but I know it'll come back round. It's all love and they know that now, know that now, know that. Hey, don't know if I'll come back down, but I know it'll come back round. It's all love and they know that now, know that now, know that. Hey, love it. I know you know I got it covered. My brother, this smooth as butter got me bugging. Cutting onions, catching feelings, bro, I love it. You gon' kill it. That's 100 on my mama. I not duck it. That's $1 million on the drama. We above it. In the kush clouds, they can't touch it. I never look down, we're here, homie. We caterpillar to butterfly in the summertime when the sun is high. Got me up at night and I'm loving life.
Don't know if I'll come back down, but I know it'll come back round. It's all love and they know that now, know that now, know that. Hey, don't know if I'll come back down, but I know it'll come back round. It's all love and they know that now, know that now, know that. Hey, I know it'll come back round, but I don't wanna come back down. I know it'll come back round, come back round, come back. Hey, I know it'll come back round, but I don't wanna come back down. It's all love and they know that now, know that now, know that now.
Welcome back to the second half of this matchup here. Colombia currently down 6-8 against Japan. And coming into this weak position, having to go upwind and on defense here against this Japanese team who have proven themselves very effective at defending this upwind end zone, not yet conceding any breaks. Let's see what the Colombian team can do on defense here. They're pulling amazingly well upwind. It's fielded by Nakayama. Send it to Nakayama. Colombian going with this defense that they've changed up in the second half. But Japan, with the wind at their backs, fearlessly moving it downfield, taking those shots. Oh, and that's a big bladey one. Agawa's in the end zone. And that just sails a bit too far for her. Cardenas taking that defensive matchup, patrolling that deep space.
And while that throw didn't connect, it's that same shape and that same option that led to the final point of the previous half. And we see that maybe the Colombians haven't adapted in their defensive style. I would like to see the defenders recognize that the Japanese want that option. As now the Colombians start to work it upfield. They're at the brick mark. Disc in the hands of Manuela Cardenas. Moving it sideways, Montoya Diaz. Back to Cardenas. The Japanese playing match. As she dumps. Upfield now. Silva Penazzola to Cardenas. The bidding player, Yoshida!
Unbelievable, the captain setting the example, setting the tone of this game. That's what it's been like for this Japanese offensive line. When they've occasionally turned it over, they've come out with stunning blocks to get the dish back. Unlikely to see another turnover going downwind here as the offensive line advances it. Disc in the hands of Tajima here. And commentator's curse coming into play. Colombians going upwind.
Hands in Cardenas, who rips on immediately. The huge backhand arcing back into the center of the field, but it flies a little too far for Quinto to reel it in, and the Japanese will have another chance heading downwind.
Ikuda with a great read, taking the space at the right time, being in the right position there. She's got that block there. Japan with a full field to work. Colombia with a time to set the defense they're looking for. Playing the zone here. Cardenas out the back, patrolling that deep space. Colombia going to need a block in the short field here if they want to get this upwinder. Japan fearlessly advancing. Tajima with the disc. Yoshida, the captain in the center here. No hat, no worries. Moving it around. getting a bit stagnant here, not moving as fast as they'd like, but not looking very under pressure here. Yoshida with the disc, waiting for an option. Nakayama resetting nicely. Not losing ground, moving forward, getting those extra couple steps as they reset backwards now. In the hands of Natsumi Yoshida. Keita Yoshida up the sideline. Ogawa elects to shoot long. Oh, and that's just curling away from a player there. Did a bit of a pirouette in that space. Unable to connect with Tajima.
Cardenas brings the disc back into play for the Colombians. She moves it to the center. Finds Quinto. Quinto to Hernandez. Hernandez so far being a crucial player in the first half of this Colombian team. She's ruling the stats sheet with 4 goals and an assist to her name. We'll see if she can continue to be a focal point for this Colombian offense as they try to work this one upwind. But it's proving difficult as it flies past the hands of Yoshida.
Looking for another of those baited layout blocks. She's got the athleticism, she's got the speed and the field vision to get those.
And now Cardenas moving it sideways again. Japanese all game long doing a great job of playing stifling defense. The Colombians having to work exceptionally hard to gain meters up the field. Being forced to play this conservative offense, except when Hernandez jacks it to Cardenas, who goes upstairs, pulls that one down. She's on the dial step. The immediate give go. And Yoshida goes horizontal!
That's unbelievable. The captain getting it done for her team in the clutch moments. That is an unbelievable. That is potentially a game-saving block there.
That was incredible play by Yoshida. There are not many players you'd expect to get layout bids on Manuela Cardenas, but Yoshida shows why. She's the captain of this Japanese team with an absolutely clutch defensive play.
Japan going back downwind here. The Colombians able to work it upwind so far, but Yoshida reading that Colombians looking for Manuela in the end zone there and just seeing it happen 30 seconds before cutting that pass out. Yoshida with a disc here. Oh, shoots under pressure, but Ogawa's off the end there. Can she make the play? Tipped, and then reeled into the end zone. Oh, Japan, after a scary one, Yoshida saving their graces there. Ogawa yet again in the end zone there.
And that was an incredible play. The frustration on the face of Manuela Cardenas after Ogawa reeled that in on the second effort. Truly exceptional. Firstly, the couple of blocks by Yoshida. One on the near sideline, one on the end zone. And then Ogawa going the other way, proving that she is absolutely unstoppable in that end zone as she has been all game long. The Colombians do not have an answer.
Yoshida reading that play like a book. That's unbelievable.
And now the Colombians will have to regroup. They can't get their heads down. They're a team that thrives on passion and play best when their emotions are behind them and in a positive frame of mind. They have the challenge now of staying positive despite what will almost certainly be a disappointing moment for them.
Absolutely. Ogawa just exploding out of this second half. Coming out of the gates, doing what has to be done. Off like a frog in a sock, hopping around, grabbing those gets, and just scoring, getting blocks, doing what has to be done. Ogawa, Yoshida, stars of this Japanese team. As the pool comes up, but it's a short one.
And now Lillian Weaver picking the disc back up. Colombians working through this offense nicely. At no point have they looked like they've struggled to get resets this game. The challenges have been when they move downfield, but the Japanese clamp down now. Past the outstretched fingers, perhaps there's a miscommunication as to who the intended target was there. Unclear, and it goes to turf.
Looked like she was getting that bidding grab. She had a second player there ready for backup, but you can never shame a player for bidding at it. She might have tipped that just out of the way of her backup. That's all right. Japan going the other way there in the hands of Sakamoto. Genshima with the disc. Ishikawa, patient, finds Genshima. One of the shortest playing on this line, quarterbacking this defensive offense. Resets backwards. Genshima again. Looks long. Sees the Colombian player out the back. That's a great grab. Way to hold on to it under pressure. Sakamoto playing powerfully. Oh, just tipped again. Can she make the grab? Unfortunately, yielding Colombia the short field here.
And now there's an opportunity for the Colombians, and they'll need to seize it before this game slips out of their grasp. Lillian Weaver through the hands. They're on the doorstep. They're willing to play patient as always. Cardenas now goes inside with that favoured inside forehand, finds Angel Escobar, the captain. And they'll bring that back to 9-7. They stay within striking distance. They steady the ship.
Absolutely. Colombia doing a great job there. Looking off that leading flick. It's absolutely a trap. It's a real attractive one. Got that player a couple meters open. You reckon you can throw that flick? It's only like 5 meters, but the wind's going to push it down. So showing great experience to look that one off, fake that, move the mark, and then go around, move it to the other field, open up that space, and then it's just a cheeky inside from Cardenas for the goal. That'll work for them all day. They just need to get it done going the other direction. But Japan in the powerful position now. The only team to have gone upwind and only have been able to do it once this game. As they're going to put on their star-studded offensive line. Look to go down here.
It looks like Manuela Cardenas will be the puller. No shortage of power on that thrower.
Absolutely, she's been pulling one of the best in this game. Able to just laser those flat backhands and sit them all the way there. You see that soaring past the brick mark, sailing to the Japanese offense. Center, Nakayama. Rock steady here. Going down that backhand side. Colombia still playing this zone. It's worked a little bit well for them. Bit more effective than their one-on-one match defense. Giving them more pressure around the disc. Nakayama, unfazed, finds Yoshida. Back to Nakayama there.
The Colombian defense looking to clamp down into a more tighter defensive look when the disc is near the sideline.
Nakayama with the disc, unstoppable here. Finds Yoshida, shoots long, and look who it is. Agawa, yet another score. Unbelievable. We're going to run out of space on the score sheet for her. She is racking up these stats. Couldn't even fit her on the scale at this point. She is nigh on unguardable in this downwind end zone. The Colombia putting Cardenas in the area, but she can't do it all. Agawa receiving those discs. Absolutely beautiful in that end zone. Never looks phased, never looks pressured. Just absolutely unstoppable there.
So you see it again. It's a beautiful backhand into space. Right onto the chest of her target. You can see the little fist pump. Agawa's happy about that. She understands that at this point in the match, every downwind hold puts them one step closer to the victory and one step closer to the business end of this tournament. We're on day 5, and in this women's division, every team plays every other team in a full round robin, and then the top 4 progress directly into the semi-finals. This game crucial in booking a ticket to that game.
Absolutely. The parity in this women's division has been incredible. There's been a number of matches that have gone down to Universe Point and gone one team, the Australian team, unable to beat the Colombians just the other day, able to get up on Universe over the Japanese. So if the Japanese can hold on to this victory here, they'll force a 3-way tie, and then it'll go down to head-to-head and points difference, and it might depend on how the Colombians do against Canada. That matchup yet to come as Cardenas bobbles and holds on.
They're moving it sideways now. This Japanese zone as stifling as always. The Japanese have a number of different zone looks that they've employed this game. keeping the offense guessing, never allowing them to settle in and get used to playing against a particular defensive look. Quick travel call and immediate restart. Frustration starting to show on some of the Colombian faces, as well as some tired legs, as well as the pace slows down. Cardenas on the far side, in a powerful position, but elects not to shoot. There wasn't anyone down there. And the disc moving there through the hands of Weaver. Cardenas to the near sideline with Valia Valderrama. Back to Uribe Norena. Cardenas pivoting strongly through the wall. Gets it back immediately as she hustles down line. These Japanese defenders continuing to work, but the holes do eventually open up. The incisive pass to Uribe Norena, to Angel Escobar. The Colombians working it through their handlers. Not a lot of movement downfield. I don't know if that's a case of tired legs or an active choice to generate from behind the disc through the handler core. Uribe Norena, Angel Escobar, Weaver, all doing what they can to keep this disc alive. The Japanese doing a great job at limiting the downfield options, as we've spoken about. Weaver, back to Cardenas, back to Weaver. We had one of these points earlier that went for a long time. The Colombians showing they were up to the task of playing the safe, conservative offense needed. But the toll that it takes on one's legs and one's fitness, one's ability to keep pushing it 100% is noticeable late in these games. Should also mention we're playing game to 100 minutes is the time cap, which means at that point, we'll finish the point that is underway. We'll add one to the highest score and play to that. As Valeria Cardenas moves it to the near sideline. So it feels like there's a slight lull in the wind at this point, but the Colombian seems totally uninterested in a long, aggressive option.
Yes, they don't want to be playing defense here. They've been working incredibly hard to maintain possession of this disc and grind their way down the field. Not able to find a lot of options. You can see that they're working through their handlers, dishing it around, but there's not a lot of movement from their downfield cutters. It'll be a long tournament, many days of incredibly difficult play against incredibly high quality opposition, and the mental, emotional, and physical toll that it's taking on these players really starting to show in the later stages of this intense game.
That's absolutely right, Rob. This is a significantly longer tournament than many of these players will be used to. Your standard domestic tournaments, just a weekend or 3 days. We're here for a full week, and we're loving every minute of it. As the Colombians near the end zone, and then we get another travel call. The disc will be brought back in, and play resumes. Angel Escobar to Cardenas. Moving sideways. The downfield cut is very static. Not providing options for the Colombians to hit. And we've got what is potentially an offensive throwing foul called by the mark. The disc is brought back in. Cardenas moving it quickly now. As they swing it back across the field. Plenty of contact on that one. Both players immediately apologizing. And looks like it'll be an uncontested foul and the play will resume. It's great to see that no matter how high stakes a game is, how intense, how important and how emotionally invested the players are in it, that spirit remains a top priority. And they're able to treat each other with trust and respect the entire time. In recent years, the Colombians have placed a great focus on the concept of trust in both their teammates and their opposition. And there you see the disc fly into the trusted hands of Lillian Weaver, who's played a crucial role for them this entire game. And the Colombians close the gap to 2. It's 10-8.
Yeah, they're still searching for that elusive upper and break, though. The Japanese defense doing an amazing job there. It's very, very difficult to hold on for that long, generate that amount of pressure. They're forcing the Colombians into it, many, many passes here, and a long, grindy point like that takes a definite toll on the Japanese, but the nature of the zone offense means that the 3 women up around the disc are working quite hard, repositioning consistently, but the 4 women who are downfield, very spaced out, are just sort of moving around, guarding those spaces, not putting in nearly the amount of effort that those handlers recycling and resetting the disc is there. So the Japanese coming out on top of the athletic contest in those, even though the Colombians come away with the goal. The Colombians having to work super, super hard just to put in that downwinder and then put themselves in a position here to get this upwind break. As they come out it again and they're looking to play some defense, they've got a couple short field turns and they need it now. It's got to come now. A double break now would put them on level footing with the Japanese. And then the Japanese would be going downwind again. So the Colombians in a very difficult position, but this game's not over. There's plenty of time, plenty of ultraman left to go. Hot as a desert out here, but Nakayama fields a disc. Back to Nakayama. Patience. Discipline. Japan moving confidently, resetting behind the disc. Colombians have changed to a standard straight-up match defense here. Cardenas gunning Yoshida at the moment. Looking to bait a layout block, but clearly showing signs of strain. Sayori Yoshida gets the disc here. Natsumi Yoshida with a disc. Resets. Sayori Yoshida with a disc. Goes wide. Only it finds Keita Yoshida with that inside. Japan advancing quickly and confidently. Much faster than the Colombians were able to advance downfield. Interesting to see the Colombians go back to a singular one-on-one match defense here. It's not appearing to slow the Japanese much. Potentially they're hoping for a Japanese turnover or a Japanese overthrow, but haven't been very common in this game. So really hoping against hope here. And they're not looking athletically in this. They're close, they're putting on the pressure, but it doesn't look like the screamer of allow blocks coming soon. They're potentially baiting something, but Japanese advancing confidently, quickly and powerfully as the disc comes in on 6 with Yoshida. Resets off the hands of Nakayama. It's her first drop this entire game. Colombia with the opportunity that they needed, but a long way to go.
And Colombians with the disc in their hands. As you said, Rob, and in the words of the legendary Australian player Mike Neild, it's got to be now.
It's got to be good.
Cardenas moving backwards and sideways. The Japanese just doing an exceptional job of making the Colombians have to dump it and swing it before finding progress downfield.
This is the best their offense has looked all day going into the wind.
Cardenas upfield to Kavidav. Back to Cardenas. To the near side to Gomez Dominguez. You feel the intensity rise from both teams. 6 meters out on the far sideline as they center it to Gomez Dominguez. Manuela Cardenas. The distinctive break backhand maybe in order, but no. Centers it. Willing to play patient, recognizing the value of this goal. Dump. Moving forward. She's on the doorstep.
And Cardenas gets the goal there. Colombia's managed to work it all the way up the field. They've found their upwind break. They've brought it back to a 1-point game. It's 10-9 Colombia. They are back in this one. And they've got a chance to go downwind here to level the score. This is the closest it's been all game. This is a rise in intensity and skill that we have needed to see for the Colombians. It's come late in this game. Let's hope it's not too little too late. They need to be converting here. The Japanese will put out their offensive line to go upwind here. More stars than the Hollywood Boulevard, but they've got to make it happen.
We saw the Colombians finally find that balance that they need between aggressive option taking and safety. Willing to dump and swing till the option was there. and then hit it when it had to be thrown. So a lovely one-handed grab from Montoya Diaz, then the easy flip to Cardenas for the goal. See Maurizio Mo with his distinctive hat on, the Colombian coach of world renown, firing the team up, providing some choice words to his women.
Putting on a strong defensive line here. Got a lot of work to do now. See Cardenas kissing the disc, giving it some good luck here. It's got to happen now. This downwind hold is everything here. The Colombians with the opportunity to go downwind, to level the game here. But then they've got to go upwind if they need to take a lead. But here they are, they're back in the game. Japan looking to go upwind. Genshima, low grab. Back to Genshima. Colombians changing back to the zone defense. It's a great look here. It's going to force the Colombians to throw a lot of passes in the wind. It's going to be a great move.
The sideline crowd building as the stakes in this game increase. We've got a sea of blue on the hill at the far end of the field as the Japanese men's team approaches and supports their women in their quest for a ticket to the quarterfinals.
Indeed, Yoshida with this goal, and they shoot long. Oh, and that's Cardenas has read that and cut it out beautifully. And Colombia going downwind now.
It's in the hands of Gomez Dominguez as Colombia will look to strike downwind, but it's through the hands of Agüero Morantes.
Yoshida picking up here, unable to find Genshua. Goes to Sayori Yoshida. Keita Yoshida with the disc. Sayori Yoshida. Keita. Advancing meter by meter. Genshima with the disc here. Colombian pressure building here. Keita with the disc. Resetting nicely. We're on the sideline with Agawa. In the center there. Yoshida. All patience. Oh, that one looks like it's down. From here, looks like that one's bounced off the ground. Agawa's looked around for some perspective. She's seen the expert advice of Sam McGuckin on the sideline. And that one's been called down. Colombia with an opportunity, but a long way to go. Are they going to play the territory game?
They have the full field to work, and we'll see how they approach it. They're so far willing to dump and swing. Manuela Cardenas strikes deep, but the throw doesn't come. As Gomez Dominguez will find Hernandez. Hernandez having done a lot of work for this Colombian team in the first half. As that disc hits the ground, looks like a foul will be called.
Reaching around Sayori Yoshida. You can see Manuela desperate for that long strike going down, but Japan putting on a big straight up mark, looking to stop that huck.
As Dominguez retrieves the disc in the center of the field. As happened earlier in this game, the Colombians being forced backwards into their own end zone. You feel like it's a matter of time until the pressure valve will have to be released. And Cardenas now comes under. Expect to see her provide that release when they need it. She gets the disc. I feel like it's almost a certainty this one will go big in a moment. As the Japanese force the Colombians back. They're on the back of their own end zone now. The voices rise on the sideline. The Japanese sensing a block, sensing a Callahan. And the Colombians ice cold in the face of this fiery pressure from the Japanese, but it's a turnover in their own end zone. And a call will be made by Daniela Hernandez. And a bit of a reenactment as well, indicating that the Japanese hit the back of her legs as she attempted to make that play.
Discussion now, have a look at the different perspectives here. Let's see if they can come away. Clear that Cardenas is showing signs of strain here. Manuela needs to come under here. They need to be moving that disc downfield.
That she could have gotten, she had a bid on that disc, but her defender came from behind and knocked her, so she couldn't get up.
So she said, she is before she touched her.
Cree que te caíste antes de que se chocaran. Pero es que ya sabes, bajo y no puedes subir, como no puedes levantarte.
Pero, o sea, yo puedo coger el disco. O sea, yo lo puedo coger, pero cuando ya, oye, ya me empieza a decir.
Sí, estaba como...
Me está tapando la cara.
So we should just go to the call and the contestant, whatever.
Yeah, it sounds like you both agreed it's contact, but not when it was, and I don't think that's going to change.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just going to be contested.
Como están de acuerdo que había contacto, pero no están de acuerdo en cuándo pasó. Así va a ser, it's going to be a contested foul.
Correct.
Va a ser una falta contestada.
Contest
What's the stall?
It goes back. Was there a stall count?
All right, looks like the contested foul. Players agree there was contact, but not when it occurred.
No,
so
no,
that
no, no.
one's going.
It's coming here.
The disc is going
Do you
back
remember?
to the thrower there. We can see the players running around, quickly giving some water to the players. This is
I
right
think
at the
six,
tide
so
of the
staying
game.
stalling 6.
The wind's coming through, and there's a bit of cloud today. It's not quite as hot, but it's dry as a dead sheep in the desert. So these players are looking parched as the Colombians back in the death corner of the end zone.
Gomez Dominguez looks to get it out. She finds Hernandez at huge amounts of contact and just totally willing to play through it. It's exceptional stuff. The back of the end zone, you feel like the pressure will build, and there comes the shot. Cardenas underneath it, unable to complete.
Absolutely well read by Ikeda. Seeing that shot, feeling it coming. Genshima, Yoshida on this. They're knocking on the door here. And then Ogawa with yet another goal. She's taken that upwinder. And Japan stretches that out at 11-9. They're able to make that happen in the dying stages of this game. Crushing the Colombian resurgence. Managing to go upwind, close out anything that the Colombians are looking for.
So now at 11-9, time cap has gone. Went during that point, I do believe, which means we'll add one to the highest score. And we'll be playing to that. Both teams now. It's do or die time. In the words of Mike Neild, it's got to be now.
Absolutely. I think the Colombians are going to need to pull something incredible out of the bag here. They're going to need to get blocks, put it in like they never have done before. They've struggled incredibly going into the wind here. The Japanese defense stifling them. They're unable to go in and win, unable to complete that big shot where they need. The signs of strain are showing. They can't bring that massive intense defense here when they needed it. Unable to stop that Japanese upwinder. So the Colombians needing to go on a game on a run here. It's a game to 12. This is game point Japan. They put out their best 7 here. We've got Yoshida, the captain with the disc. Ogawa, the goal scoring machine, as a timeout's been called. There's a bit of time to sit around, have a talk here, but this is absolutely the calm before the storm.
As we'll take another look at that call on the back of the Colombian end zone, the Japanese forcing the Colombians to play a lot of frisbee in their own end zone. And there was agreement between the players that there was contact. Disagreement was as to when that contact occurred. It appears from the super slow-mo on the replay that maybe the contact was after, but of course it is difficult to tell from up here. And in this sport, it's all about the decision made on the field by the players involved. And in this case, not only just having to come to an agreement as to what happened, but through the cultural and language barrier as well.
Absolutely, and it's not hard to believe that, if there's a little bit of an ankle tap there, it affected her ability to explode off the ground. We know that these players have athleticism for days, and that could have affected her ability to make that play. As Japan coming out of defense here, Kaede Yoshida with a pull, and that one sitting, dropping just past the brick mark here.
The disc retrieved by Manuela Cardenas. Immediately goes a few times up the field. She passes to her sister. This is the first time they've both been on the line in quite a while, indicating the importance of this point to the Colombians, and the coaching staff have recognized that and responded by putting them on the field together in the hands of Marin Ortiz, to Manuela Cardenas, to Lillian Weaver. The Colombians You feel like they've found another level of intensity as both teams run a little harder, push a little faster. Recognizing it's do or die time. Weaver with the disc. She's been crucial for this Colombian team all game long as a steady presence with the disc in her hands. She's not the shot taker, she's the rock. And she'll look to provide that stability and that control and that calm head throughout this point. Something that maybe the Colombians have struggled with at times.
It's interesting to see how long this upwinder goes and how they go. How long is it until we see a huge shot upwind? Cardenas to Cardenas. Can the Colombians grind through their systems this whole way?
Valeria with the disc to this sideline. She does a good job to keep that in. Literally inches away, Hernandez was. Back to Weaver, and we've got a pick call upfield. The stack quite far away from the disc right now.
Ogawa drawing the Cardenas matchup again, and Yoshida, the other Cardenas. Two best players the Japanese team has going against the two best players the Colombian has. Sparks are going to fly here in this point.
And now, Valeria's pass to her sister Manuela does not complete. Through the hands.
Ogawa with the disc here. Japan looking for the win. Swings. Again, patience. Nothing different. The offense looking exactly the same as it has. Yoshida with the disc. She's got Ogawa off the back, but there's a pick called. Japanese team will reset to where they were. Players move around, so there's not another instant pick. Japan in a strong position going downwind. Genshima with the disc. She's got to play a free tip. That's Sagaro again. Oh, and she's taken yet another amazing grab right out front of the end zone. And then she's called a timeout. The stall coming on one. They're 3 meters away from the game here, the Japanese. They've got to display the patience of the Dalai Lama to put this one in. Yeah, take their time there, show the discipline and the structure that they've had all game if they're going to put this one in. The Colombians needing to pull something out of the bag, but they've got it. They've got an ace up their sleeve. Let's see if they've got it.
The Colombians and the Japanese, they've found another gear. They've stepped it up a notch, recognizing that this is the point that will make the difference. Game point for the Japanese, and if the Colombians can get this upwinder, you feel that the momentum would be on their side and the downwinder would follow shortly thereafter.
Exactly. If the Colombians can get a block here, if they can work it, they can grind it all the way, level, and then take a downwinder, that'd force a universe point situation. But as they've seen before, Colombian upwinder answered immediately by a Japanese upwinder. And here we go. We're coming out of the timeout here. The Japanese team setting in a tight vertical stack. Not a lot of space here. Squeezing it in. Colombia ready to set the defense.
As we saw there on the replay, as always, and as they have this whole week long, they reach to Ogawa when the going gets tough. And as always, she delivers with a beautiful take, only 2 meters out from the end zone, and then the veteran timeout call.
Absolutely. Ogawa here. Patient, staring at a stack. She's got a star-studded line here. Looking like the Milky Way all lined up. Something amazing is going to happen here. Oh, Yoshida on the end zone line. She fights her on the inside. And it looks like there's a violation call. Players in the stack signaling. There's other Colombian players looking devastated, walking away. And we'll have a discussion. Might be that players moved out of the stack too early. Looked like there was a bit of movement coming out of the timeout. So we'll have a discussion about whether or not they were set properly and how it went.
If the players from the Japanese team started moving before the disc was checked in, it is a violation.
Absolutely. So we'll see. Spirit of the game working here, even in the tightest, most crucial of points. Game advisors letting them know exactly what the rules are and just what the procedure is to follow based upon what may have happened. And we'll see what the resolution is that they come to.
The game advisors getting involved to provide a clarification on the rules if necessary, and to provide an outside perspective if requested.
Yes, absolutely non-binding though. To here to facilitate the players' discussion themselves. And these discussions absolutely respectful. It doesn't look like they're heated at all. Everybody interested to hear all the perspectives. Might be taking just a little longer due to having to go through 2 different translators, but they're absolutely doing amazing work here, facilitating this most unique and most beautiful aspect of our game. And taking their time. At this point, I think, given that we're past time cap, we can afford a few more seconds to make sure the right outcomes arrived at. Time cap having already gone, and we've already established a points cap to play to. We could theoretically be here the rest of the day. Seems unlikely though. These players are getting tired. We're looking for a resolution here. Going to see whether or not a violation occurred, and if so, whether or not it affected the play. A violation, of course, is a stoppage, but as with everything else in Ultimate, if the players agree, you can do basically whatever you want, so long as it's within the rules. There's a lot on the line here, so it'll be interesting to hear all the perspectives. We want to gather all the possible information as we have a look at the replay here, and we'll see what was happening just before.
And we can see that a Japanese player at the front of the end zone does raise her hand. Unclear in reference to what, but the Colombians immediately follow with the upraised arms, indicating a violation call. As the discussions continue, the story of this game has been one of runs of momentum. The Japanese were first able to get a couple of breaks going upwind and then immediately following it with a downwinder. And then it wasn't until early in the second half where the Colombians were able to respond with their upwinder. As we said early in this game, it's those upwind points that have been the crucial decisive factors in success for the teams.
Absolutely. And it looks like this has been contested here. The disc will come back in with Agawa. We'll go back to where we were just before the timeout ended. All the players resetting, making sure to make this a clean one. Agawa with the disc. Yoshida cutting to the end zone here. And she's found her open in the front cone of the end zone. She's managed to use her length, use her athleticism, take those powerful steps, get in front of the Colombian defender for that uncontested grab. And Japan have taken this game away 12-9. A mere 3 points in it, a 1 upwind break. And Japan have held on, knocked off that Colombian resurgence, prevented them powering out of their second half, and displayed their trademark discipline and structure out front of the end zone to close out.
And with that play and with that victory, the Japanese have kept their tournament hopes alive. Having gone down earlier in the week to the Australian women in a universe point match, they needed that victory to stay in contention for the semi-finals, and those results will be crucial.
Absolutely. We went down in a universe to Canada as well. Colombia yet to play Canada. So it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out. We've definitely seen a lot of ties, a lot of things going either way in this women's division, a lot of tight matches. It's an incredible testament to not only the parity of this division, the growth of women's ultimate around the world, but also the tenacity, the effort of these athletes to put it all in, give it all in the line, and the excitement that the tight games of ultimate can generate here. Japan will be happy with that win, and they've managed to take it away. But this is not the end for them. And nothing is decided yet in this women's division.
You're absolutely right, Rob. And that's just the first game of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Do stick around. We've got a bunch more incredible matchups to follow this one. Next up, we've got a pre-quarterfinal on the men's side of the draw between Great Britain and the Philippines. And this afternoon, we'll have some of those quarterfinals for you from the mixed and men's division. So find a comfy spot to sit, settle in, grab some popcorn if you want. There's some high-octane viewing to be had this afternoon and for the rest of this day. I've been Max Stenstrom.
I've been Rob Swan. It's been a pleasure bringing this game to you. As we get towards the pointy end of the tournament, everything gets very exciting, everything gets very tight. Look to see you soon on the stream. Thanks so much.
stuck in traffic. Back in feel the breeze of Clean Point Road. Nothing's more nostalgic. Always stuck in traffic.